Josh and Bryn with Idaho Prepared, and today we are talking about alternatives to your MREs. Food, yeah. Life. So, with that, reason we put these together is really going to be a couple things. First off, MREs are running like $5 a piece now.
Oh yeah, that's outrageous.
6. I've seen them. They are truly outrageous amounts. With these, you can customize these. You can really put them together how you want. And you can make it to where there's tools in them as well. We're going to get into that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have Bryn kind of go over these.
So
kind of why we have them.
So, like Josh was talking about the price, all right? This is really going to fall into our budget prepping series. You know, there are some things that we're going to talk about on this page that do take a little bit of capital to get into. But it goes back to what we said in our introduction video. You know, good gear, you get what you pay for. So you kind of got to, in some aspects, spend the money to get the right stuff. However, when it comes to MREs, everything you see on this table right now, and everything we're going to talk about was bought at Winco for less than $100, and we have plenty of leftovers. This is not even close to all of it.
No.
We both split $50 a piece. We went and got all this stuff, and we have more MREs than we know what to do with right now. And we have so many, and we have the luxury of splitting them up between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But back to the cost issue, this one right here, which has a whole packet of tuna fish in it, it has the Israeli bread.
Yeah, I think that's what's called.
Israeli bread. It's got lentil soup. It's got vegetable chips, and it's got a trail mix in it, as well as corn nuts. So you got a lot of really high calorie type of foods here, as well as some healthy options. And this entire meal is $2.98 is what we broke it down to. Great stuff. Now, what this one lacks is a lot of utilitarian uses. And what I mean by that is things like, let me grab one here if I can.
You want sardines or tuna?
Either one. So these little round tuna cans right here, they can be used to make hobo stoves. They can be, the lids can be sharpened and broken to fish hooks or gaffs or arrowheads or anything like that for small game. Deadfall traps. You can really use these things really in a lot of ways to your benefit. You can also open these without a can opener by sliding them on any kind of stone or flat surface that's hard and abrasive. The juices inside of it has water inside of it. So you have a little bit of water in this guy too. And this one in itself, we have the Israeli bread, we have powdered milk, we have cheese spread, we have corn nuts, we have some spicy trail mix, all kinds of really good stuff.
Dehydrated fruit.
Yeah, dehydrated fruit. We have mac and cheese mix. I mean, nothing.
Cheesy potatoes.
Things that you don't find. Yeah, we even have potatoes and gravy in here.
Yeah.
Things that you don't find in MREs. I mean, this is pretty decent food. I've eaten a couple of these just for shits and giggles, and it's not bad. It's way better than MREs. And anybody out there who's eaten MREs and paid for it later, this is not that. This is much better. And like I said, you have utilitarian uses too. A lot of things in here. Another really important thing you can do with these metal cans, you can boil water.
Yep. Even
if it's 4 ounces at a time, you can boil water in these, and that can make a world of difference in a survival situation. But this is a great way to stock up on storable food for your bug out bag. For you could fill a Tupperware tote of these, and have it as your storable food. And keep in mind, we've also structured some of these where you can eat without water. If you're in a desert, like we have here in Southwest Idaho, there's a lot of desert around us. We may not have water readily available. So a lot of these things you can make without water.
Coffee and creamer too. There are a lot of things. And the cool thing about these is, you know, when you're talking storable foods, these are great to diversify into individual meals. When I think of these are things that aren't necessarily going to be, you know, prepper foods per se, that I'm just going to have, you know, 10,000 of these. Right. Although that could work, and it could make it easier to carry. Like, hey, you carry this, I'll carry this. When I think of these though, and we actually have these from a class that we taught, as well as tons of other, you know, stuff left over to do those classes. But with these, what my thought was is, you know what, a big thing that we do here in Idaho is hunting. Absolutely. If you get lost in the woods, which if you look at the news, happens all the time, you now have a meal, okay?
Yep.
Another thing is if it is a bug out situation and you have people on post watching, you can hand them these. Hey, eat them right there. you're good to go.
Well, and the situation where if you're an outdoorsman or a hiker or a hunter or a bird watcher, whatever you're doing out in the woods, if you get lost or you get turned around up the mountains or your compass breaks or whatever the situation may be, the fact that you have a couple of these in your bag, and they're not heavy, they're relatively light. It can take the time and the hours that would go into finding food initially. You can now spend that on building yourself an adequate shelter, covering more ground, getting to a more visible spot so you can be found by search and rescue. If your vehicle breaks down out in the middle of the desert, you know, any situation. I actually have a true story I'd like to share with you guys. 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago now, I came from the South, so everybody knows. I came here from Kentucky, and I was in North Carolina training for work, and the snow apocalypse of the South came, and I was in a town called Mount Airy, North Carolina. They hadn't seen snow in like 60-something years. They're completely unprepared for it, and in overnight, 19 inches fell. The entire town shut down. The only thing the hotel had for us to eat were brown bag apples and I think like Cheez-It crackers. I had MREs and things like these in my bug out bag or in my survival bag that I take with me everywhere I go. And I ate those 3 days that that town was shut down on these. There was no restaurants open. Anybody who travels and lives in hotels, you guys know, there was nothing open. The National Guard actually kind of came in and were pulling semi-trucks out of ditches, and we're watching the Walmart in case it got ransacked. It was a bad deal for that town, and I had food. I didn't have to worry about it. I sat back in my hotel room and watched YouTube videos all day long. So it's something that it can fall under many situations, many scenarios, and things that are not so outlandish to anybody out there watching, thinking all these crazy preppers and these crazy doomsday scenarios. No, that's not what this is about. This is about being prepared for anything, even a terrible snowstorm while you're out of town.
Well, look, there was a time where I went up to a city called Silver City, and it's an abandoned town, ghost town. I decided to try and get there during the latter part of winter, and I slid off the road. I got up there high, ground was fine, until it started to rain a little bit, then it made the snow into slush, and there I was. Even his F-250, he couldn't get up there.
That 4-wheel drive diesel pickup, I could not get up there.
My brother and my son were with me, and also one of my daughters. And in there I had, I believe, 12 of these. So there's situations where this sort of stuff, in everyday life, when you're not thinking things clearly where you're going to go, you know what, I'm going to run into an issue. Carrying these in your vehicle is great.
And you guys can see the date right there is February 6th of 2016 of this year. This has been sealed in here airtight since February. And it's got a long ways to go. We could leave this alone for years and years. It's going to be just like this. It's as good, if not better, than the MREs that you can buy.
Things I love about these too is like the diversity that you can do with breakfast. We've got eggs and cheese. We've got hash browns. We've got oatmeal, powdered honey, different things you can do.
I even got chicken on this one.
Yeah.
I have eggs and chicken, and I think this is jelly for my Israeli bread. And it's unreal the meals that you can make just out of the bulk section at a store like Winco. If you're watching us on the West Coast, I think Kroger has a bulk section now. Yeah. They can do kind of the same thing. But you just find a bulk store and you can get this stuff for extremely cheap. Extremely cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. Dehydrated fruit too, and I think there's even some soups that literally just take water in 5 minutes. So something to think about. If you guys have different ideas that you've tried with making your own, we'd love to hear them.
Absolutely.
Put them in the comments, and then also make sure to like, comment, as we stated, and subscribe. And if there's a video idea that you guys want to see as well, please make sure to let us know, and we'll make sure to put it out.